pre-load test visual examination, determine whether this fire escape has passed inspection, is ready to proceed to a load test, or if there's work that needs to be done prior to the load test, or if there's any way that we can avoid a load test by having enough significant evidence of strength on this fire escape to avoid the load test. And this is one of those that with some significant activity, new fasteners on this fire escape, that we might be able to have this one not be load tested because there's significant work that was done on this fire escape. First of all, it has to get painted, so there's no paint issue. Some spot painting will be done on any repair work that needs to be done. So let's start with just what's going on here. The attachments from below has confirmed that there is through bolts going into the building. As to whether or not we can see them on the inside, or whether or not they can be verified, or if we need to duplicate them. On the interior, we might be able to identify them down below at the higher level. So down the floor below, we might be able to identify those plates with an examination, or duplicate the connection to avoid that question. But new hardware. Whether this was done. Do you guys know when the last time this was refurbished? Was it just recently refurbished? You're not sure? Okay. Because I see some repair attempts down below that I'll discuss in my video. Okay, so it looks like there's structure, there's evidence that there's been maintenance throughout. This fire escape has been painted. So primarily, the fact that all the fasteners are here, and they're new fasteners, and there's no evidence of rust in any of the connections. So far, structure that's not a concern on the upper platform. Getting here, new fasteners. Again, when we say new fasteners, could be 5 to 10 years old. But again, no connection and new fasteners at every connection. The only issue we're having a lot of times on these treads, we'll look at it from below, but it's the kicker plates. A lot of these kicker plates have some rust in them. That somebody used some little pieces of tin metal. You can't use that. You have to have either a solid piece of one-piece metal, but you can't use. This looks like it's flashing, the cheap flashing that you use on the house. I recommend highly that all these areas get silicone sealed now to basically stop the snow and the water and any salt that you put on this from getting in there. All right, so there's your through bolts. That's a verification that you have a through bolt. But in order to verify this, we have to load test this fire escape with these through bolts, or if we can put in new through bolts next to or near, we can basically leave those alone, and that will avoid the load test if we duplicate the through bolts at this time. We have fasteners here, which is good. No evidence of rust, so these are good. These are not square head bolts, so overall the fire escape is still looking good. Some of this issue with all these rusty tiers could be one of two issues. One is because of all that's happening here, we need to have somebody work on this wall, but we need to seal that so that no water's getting behind. And because there's rusty tiers coming down, these connections here, these are suspects. So what we can do is keep the original bolt there, but put another bolt above it or beside it, but then you need to seal that so that water doesn't get down there anymore. And in some cases, water is actually coming down the angle and hitting that wall and rusting. But this looks like it's interior water getting in from behind, and it's affecting that bolt, which is most likely a lag screw. Okay. So that needs to be addressed. Anywhere water can collect and accumulate, you got to seal that so water stops from there. But again, the answer is going to be here is load test this platform at 100 pounds per square foot, or if we can duplicate these through bolts with another plate, basically you've negated the need to verify these through load testing. Fire escape structurally still in good order. This upper part here is in good order. Again, don't forget the tread kick plate is my concern, but we'll show that from underneath. But the rest of the railings, the platforms, they seem to be in good order. Again, evidence of new hardware, or the fire escape again is could be 25 years old, and it's still in good order, but except for kick plates, we got some areas of rusting where it's minor. Again, I'm still structurally looking at this fire escape as one that doesn't have any huge accumulation of any rust. See, all still new fasteners, not square heads, not rivets, which is typical on fire escapes that are older. But again, you start seeing where instead of them fixing the whole entire kick plate, they just did a patch, and we'll look from underneath, and that's incorrect. There's a hole here of what it used to be. This is what they've encountered, and they started putting a simple patch. You can't do that. It has to be a good thick metal so that when your foot hits it, that's what it looks like when it's missing. So we'll get underneath and look at that. Anything that's into the ground, this looks like it's a cement pad here. If you have all this accumulation, it's basically going to keep it in your foot. So a lot of times after this is cleaned, a little bit of landscape can stop the water and the dirt from getting on here. We recommend highly that you tar the feet 4 to 8 inches high near the area where it's going to be touching, so that every time there's snow and dirt and wetness, it stops rotting your feet. These footings, pre-existing non-conforming, and a lot of times you just need to verify if they pretty much have settled and they're not sinking anymore. A lot of times it's just cleaning these up so that, as you can see, they too are rotting the feet, so that needs to be cleaned. And a lot of times it's once those are all cleaned, we tar the feet again 4 to 8 inches tall of that actual tar, hand tar. You put it all on by hand, and you make it so that these feet, as they stay wet and in snow, they don't keep rotting out the fire escape. The concern is all this underneath. As you can see, the treads themselves are not too bad from the top. This all needs to be cleaned out, but the kick plates have been rotting out, so these all need to be repaired. All these kick plates, because this is what's rotting out. They've patched it with some tin. You can't patch it with tin. Don't forget, the fire escape has got lead on it, so the only way you can fix these is not by welding these replacements. You gotta bolt it in. Just this whole fire escape is bolted, so the replacements have to be pieces that are bolted back in to avoid any issue of burning lead paint. All these rusty tears indicate that every one of these lag screws back into the building just needs to be, you can keep the original one in there, just put another one next to it or above it or to the side, and that basically negates the need, but then seal the whole thing, because these long rusty tears are an indication that water got into the back and it's coming back out, and that brown is meaning that some iron is rusting out. When you look up, you have some repair work that can be done. Again, a lot of times it's just a kick plate. I'm not seeing too many problems with your treads, but a lot of times the water that's coming down here is coming from the treads, so that's why you want to seal all your treads, but there should be very few, if no, tread issues other than the kick plate on all of them. Getting to the connections here, any connection that you have should be sealed with 50 or silicone to avoid any future intrusion of water getting in there, because then it'll nullify the bolt. So again, we see some new hardware here, but we need to start sealing, make sure there's no rust in any connection. If you find any rust, then that bolt's got to come out, change the rust, and seal it with silicone. Take the rust out. All right. The fire escape has been kept painted, and right now, again, over 75% of this fire escape is already showing other evidence of strength, and with another quick repair on some of these things that I just mentioned, you're looking at achieving 100%, and there is no load test, and the fire escape will certify without a disclaimer letter of liability on this. So any questions on this or any part of this fire escape engineers, 866-649-0333, 866-649-0333.